I know why millennials are so pissed off. It's because we were lied to. You told us if we put our head down, we did what was expected of us, we were yes men, we would be rewarded by our companies. And to be fair, I do work for a good company. I'm not trying to bash them. But we just had our end of the fiscal year town hall meeting in which I found out I got a 4% raise, and I should be happy because some people might not get any raise at all depending on their situation. Except I also got a notice today that my rent is increasing by 12%. Do you see how that doesn't add up well? 4% increase over a 12% increase, and that is just one bill. That is just rent. That is not food, gas, anything else.
TikTok has really shown me that not all millennials had the same experience with the 2008 economic crisis. Because all of you are talking about like, oh, we were playing the Wii and eating our cheap snacks. We had no idea what our parents were going through in the other room. Our parents sat us down for monthly family budget meetings to discuss exactly how much each and every one of us cost, and then made us choose items to take out of the budget. I have psychological money problems now, and they're probably related.
So this is just gonna be a little rant about how this country hates single people. You cannot succeed in this country if you're a single person, I swear. So I'm trying to move out of where I live now. I have a terrible living situation, and it's impossible. It's literally impossible. For a 1-bedroom, 1-bath house or apartment, everywhere I have looked near me is starting out at $1,200 to $1,400. How much is it for a 2-bedroom though? Starting out $1,200 to $1,400. So if I had a second person, this would probably be way easier. Not to mention, you cannot even have pets at any of these places. How y'all gonna allow children that will absolutely do damage? But my cats who sleep all day, they can't come? And then Verizon, I need you to count your days. I'm supposed to be paying $85 for unlimited everything. Somehow though, my bill is always $99. And I just got an email a few days ago telling me that my plan is gonna be raised by $4. So I still have a $100 phone payment. So then I was looking to change phone providers because no, but that's pretty much the price anywhere for one line. Now, if I were to sign up and get 4 lines, it would be $100. So I can pay for 1 line, which is $100, or I can get 4 for $100. Make it make sense. What the hell? So they're making it to where you cannot survive this economy by yourself. And I don't like people. So like, I don't want people in my space all the time. I'm living with a nightmare roommate right now, and I am miserable. So I know everybody else has gotta be.
The bank was like, we have really good interest rates right now for houses. And
So should we buy a house?
in this economy,
Yeah. Let's go 50-50.
we can't afford 50-50 on a house.
All right, 60-40 or 80-20, you 80-20.
We're gonna rent forever.
I know that's true. Isn't that fucked up that we can't even, like, there's no potential for us to buy a home ever?
Yeah. Maybe I'll go back and live with my parents.
Me too, dude.
Welcome back, you guys. I hope you're having a wonderful day today. You're tuned into the Tiffany Rose Show. Today we're talking about millennials. Man, they done lied to them. The boomers lied and told them that they got a life that doesn't exist. The American dream, the picket fence, and the little dog, and you get married and you have kids and it's happily ever after. That's not how the millennials feel right now, because most of them still live at home. Let's get into these videos. Let's talk about it. Let's get to it.
Pacing inflation. On average, it costs $310,000 just to raise a single child at a time. I mean, you could have a kid or you could have a Lamborghini, Jack. Sometimes having an only child is a choice, but oftentimes it is not a choice. Fertility can be a major challenge. But more millennials who can choose are choosing to have one child right now.
I no longer have $75,000 at 22. I now have $68,000. I'm trying to hit $100,000 by the age of 25. In this economy, I'm not getting there anymore. I lost $6,600. I honestly feel so bad for the people trying to retire within the next 2 or 3 years. Don't even recommend looking at your 401k. I'm very fortunate. I'm young while we're going into a recession, and I don't need to take my money out because I have a savings of 6 months. And I'm just gonna leave my money in until the market goes back. But like, what the hell? So I've been super into politics recently. Everything's increasing. Gas, rent, groceries, inflation is going up. A lot of people think we're going into a recession, which that means the economy is not growing, it is shrinking. For everybody who's investing, don't take your money out. I know it's tempting. If you have a savings, hopefully you have your emergency fund. I always say, have your emergency fund first. And the market will eventually go up and you won't lose your money, like it'll go back. But I'm kind of pissed. I'm pissed.
My boy told me he just bought 4 brand new tires. I was like, at once? He's like, yeah, I thought this fool got a raise. I'm like, damn, you got a promotion? I'm like, people out there, people got the money to do that? 4 brand new tires? Like y'all tire don't get bald and y'all just go get like another used one every 6 months? That's just me? Jesus Christ. I seen somebody come out of Urban Outfitters with 3 bags. In this economy? Urban Outfitters with 3 bags? Now, I ain't no mathematician or nothing, but that's at least $250,000. 3 bags out of Urban Outfitters? What the hell? You gotta pay an admission to around. I know y'all tired of me about money, but I'm so poor I gotta save up to be broke. Remember when buying groceries used to save us money? What happened? Eggs $12 a piece. If you eat out every day and spend $15 3 times a day for 7 days a week, what's that? A little over $300? You spend $300 a week at the grocery store. What the is the point of buying groceries anymore? Some stores I don't even go to no more. Like, I gotta get a loan to go to Target. If you ever see me come out of Target with more than 1 bag, I put shit is on credit. I got a vacation at Target. Y'all say it with me on the count of 3. 1, 2, 3. One more stimulus check. All right, let's go.
My biggest concern with our country turning into a renter's economy is how will the millennial and Gen Zers retire comfortably if they don't own a house and are going to have to rent forever? Because if you look at 1994, the average house was $130,000 and rent was $450. If someone bought a house in 1994, 30 years later, today, that home is probably worth around $400,000 and it's paid off. That is part of their net worth. Rent is $1,950, but they don't have to pay $1,950 because their house is paid off. They have property taxes and homeowners insurance for only $600. So think about someone who's 58 to 68 who bought a house in the 90s, it's now paid off, they're not burdened with the high rent, they only pay $600 for housing. That is a big deal. Well, what if the same thing happens from 94 to 2024 in the next 30 years? The average house in 2054 will be $1.2 million, rent will be $8,500, but the property tax and homeowners insurance on this home will only be $2,000. So if someone was able to buy a house now or a couple years ago or in a few years, they'll have a house worth $1.2 million in their net worth, they won't be burdened with $8,500, and they can retire with the housing burden of only $2,000. But what about the people who can't buy a house and in 30 years they're going to be spending $8,500 on rent? How do you retire if your rent's going to be $8,500? You go, Freddie, that's ridiculous. Why? Los Angeles, Miami, New York, Vancouver are already spending $4,000 or $5,000. Why wouldn't Orlando, Cleveland, Pittsburgh, Buffalo, Phoenix, why wouldn't it be $8,500? This is a major concern. How can you give the millennials and Gen Z and Gen Alpha hope about the future if we don't get these institutional investors under control or put systems in place that will give millennials and Gen Zs a path to retirement?
What are we supposed to do? Gas prices crazy. Groceries crazy. Dog, the cost of living is so high right now, like this shit is not even funny anymore. The crazy part is, like, older generations will call us lazy and say, oh, we don't want to work hard, where during their time they can get a whole house for $30,000 and a case of beer. No one wants to talk about how hard it is for millennials right now, how hard it is for us to buy a house, how hard it is for us to survive. Many people that I know are literally working 2 jobs, or, you know, maybe they have a significant other and there's more than one income in the house, right? Like, it's ridiculous right now, bro. And you know why it's ridiculous right now? Do you know why? All that money printing that the government did, we're suffering from it.
Millennials and Gen Zs are struggling in today's economy. I think Freddie nails this on the head and really has a good way of explaining why the Gen Z and Millennials are struggling and why maybe the Boomers just can't see it.
50+% say we're in a recession. 58% say the economy is getting worse. It's not. By all objective measures, it's getting better. People keep feeling worse. Why is that? I think it depends on the age, because I think we're kind of living in 2 separate economies, if you will. Because if you're somebody who's over 60 years old, if you have a $400,000 home and you have just property taxes and homeowner insurance for $600 a month, that is significantly better than a millennial or Gen Z are spending $2,500 for rent or $3,600 for a mortgage. So I think people under 40 are really feeling the stress about about the economy saying it's not good because housing's up, college is up, daycare is through the roof. But I think people over 60 who sit back and go, my 401k is looking good, my house went up 40%, the economy's doing well, groceries are...
Millennials, how are we doing in this economy? How are we doing? Because we have been through it. What was it? Housing market crash, COVID, 9/11, DC sniper, like Ebola, bird flu, swine flu. No jobs out here after being educated. So millennials, I generally want to know, how are y'all doing out here? Because it's rough out here. It's really ghetto. So I'm gonna need y'all to like tell me how y'all doing. Just millennials, just tell me how you're doing, man, because it seems like the millennials, we going through it right now. We going through it.
Millennial rage is a real thing, and I want to talk about it. There is something about the millennial experience that no other living generation is ever going to understand. Like, the dumpster fire that has been the US economy over the last 15 years or so has sucked for everybody. I get that. But the timing and the intensity with which it has impacted millennials is fucking unprecedented. Like, the US economy continues to sucker punch millennials in the back of the head at the most vulnerable times in our life. Like, the Great Recession of '08 was not a good time for anybody, but millennials were just entering adulthood. We paid for college degrees that we were better off just wiping our asses with. We're trying to make a start at life, and the entire country goes into a multi-year hiring freeze. Oh, you got your teaching degree? Good luck waiting tables for 4 or 5 years. Oh, you want to be a firefighter? Good luck. There's one job and 1,800 applications for it. Or if you're like me and you and your brother spent all of your savings on a down payment for a small house, it was quickly worth less than half of what you paid for it, and the rate adjusted and the mortgage payment went up. So you're a broke kid navigating a jobless economy with a foreclosure around your neck and a credit score that's in the toilet for the next 7 years. And dude, it took millennials years to find a good job or a career and start experiencing some form of normalcy in our lives. And by 2020, millennials finally feel like they can take a breath, and a lot of us have entered into another one of the most vulnerable chapters of our lives, parenthood. And the fucking pandemic hits. Like, my daughter was born in quarantine. So here we are starting families and watching the world burn down around us yet again, just when we were starting to get ahead. And since that time, we've been forced to sit back and watch this country melt into a post-pandemic hellscape that's fueled by fake inflation. Like, bro, we were already 5 years behind the 8 ball, and now this. Childcare, $2,500, health insurance, $1,200, groceries, $1,000, vehicle expenses, $1,000. The average home in America that's livable for a family is like $500,000 fucking dollars. What the fuck do you mean? Millennials are so full of rage because the American dream that we were promised our entire lives was never meant for us. It was simply a carrot that was dangled in front of us to make that dream a reality for somebody else.
So I had a conversation with my boomer dad and boomer uncles about why people didn't want to work anymore, and I said something that I think is true and I want to share it with you. First of all, let me share with you some of their condescending thoughts. One of the points my boomer relatives said is, why do people expect work to be good? It's not supposed to be. It's not supposed to be comfortable. That's why you call it work. We didn't expect it to be comfortable. We labored in uncomfortable situations and we did it in order to make a living. We didn't expect luxuries. You guys expect luxuries. And let's just derail the conversation twice here for a second. First of all, who is telling them that we want luxury? And that's something that for some reason we're unwilling to put up with uncomfortable situations. All of us worked through college. All of us. I don't know a single person who didn't have a job, who didn't work almost full time all the way through college, even though they were going to college full time. I did that. Almost everybody else I know did that. Secondly, most of us are just asking for healthcare and affordable housing. I don't understand where the concept of luxury is coming from. A place to sleep and have some money to buy food and then maybe go out every once in a while is most of what people are asking for. And not to be terrified of future and retirement and dying poor and lonely. So straight out of the gate, I don't know who is feeding them this bullshit narrative. Now, secondly, a little over a 20-year period of time, the dollar lost almost half of its value. And in 2000, most boomers were in their 40s when that began to happen. Since 1970, there's been a 500% increase or more in the consumer price index. A 1,500% increase in tuition, at least amongst higher education places like Harvard, and only a 10% increase in wages. In addition, baby boomers We'll not retire and get out of the way so that younger people can have careers, with 50% nearly of millennials and Gen Z, and 1/3 of Gen Xers saying that they've blocked their career progression. So let's return to the main criticism that these boomers had of millennials and Gen Z, that we didn't want to work, we didn't like working, we thought it was too uncomfortable and we didn't want to do it anymore. It's not that we don't want to. It's that the bargain used to be that for 2,000 hours of work a year-ish, you could afford a life. And that's just not true anymore. You can work as hard as you want, you're not going to get ahead. So work has always been bullshit. We've just realized that it's no longer worth doing because you don't get anything for it anymore.
Let's just be real for a second. They lied to y'all straight up. They did. They told millennials, go to school, get a degree, get you a good job, and life will be good. But now look, you got folks with 2 degrees working at jobs that barely pay enough to survive. Rent sky high, groceries feel like a luxury, and don't even get me started on trying to buy a house. This ain't what they promised. They told y'all hard work will pay off, but they left out the part where the rules changed, and the game was rigged from the start. Boomers got houses for $80K and pensions for life. And millennials got student loans, side hustles, and anxiety. Now they sit back calling a generation lazy, when in reality, millennials been grinding non-stop just to exist. Not to get ahead, just to keep the lights on and the gas in the tank. And the worst part, they act like they don't see it. Nah, we see it. We feel it every time that direct deposit hit and disappear the same day. Every time you skip meals to make rent. Every time you wonder, is this really life? Y'all were lied to and blamed and shamed for a system that already cracked before you even got in it. But one thing I know, this generation don't fold easily. Y'all may be tired. You may be frustrated, but you ain't blind no more. Now you moving different, asking questions, building your own thing, and refusing to stay stuck in the same cycle that broke the people before you. And that right there, that's what you call power.
If you are a believer, you're born again, you are called to be a watchman, or watchwoman, or watch person, doesn't matter. So it means you are someone who's to behold, to look up. You're called to be one who waits on the Lord.